So, have you ever wondered if it's actually possible to keep tabs on a phone without, installing any software on it? It honestly sounds like something straight out of a spy movie, right? Well, one source online claims it can be done, and they lay out a few really specific and very different techniques. Okay, let's dive into this and really break down what they're claiming. First things first, right off the bat, the source video itself puts this huge disclaimer up. They're very clear. This is for educational purposes only. And the only legal reason they even mention is for a parent monitoring their own child's phone. That's a super critical piece of context to keep in your head as we get into the actual methods they're talking about.
All right, so the first method they describe is honestly surprisingly low tech. We're not talking about hacking or any kind of special software. It's all about using these, well, secret codes that are built right into every phone's network.
And the key here are these things called USSD codes. You've probably used them without even knowing it. You know when you type something like *225# into your phone's dialer to check your bill? That's a USSD code. They're basically these direct communication lines to your service provider, and apparently they can do a whole lot more than just check your data balance.
So the source gives a very specific code for this trick. They claim that if you have just a moment of physical access to the phone, you can pop open the dial pad and type in this exact sequence, **21*. Then the phone number you want to forward it to, followed by the pound sign. You hit call, and the claim is that just like that, all of that phone's voicemails are now being sent to your number.
And they add a little pro tip here. They suggest routing the calls to a Google Voice number. That way, you could access them from any device, not just your phone. But here's the really crucial part. They also give you the off switch. Typing ##002# and hitting call is supposed to completely wipe out any and all call forwarding on that phone.
Okay, so the next method is a big shift. We're moving away from technical codes and into human psychology. According to the source, this technique doesn't require physically touching the phone at all. Nope. Instead, it relies completely on deception, a tactic we call social engineering.
So the technology at the heart of this whole thing is Verizon's Message Plus app. Now, like a lot of messaging platforms, it has this handy feature that lets you sync your texts across multiple devices, say your phone and your computer. The vulnerability here, according to the source, is all about tricking someone into giving you that one-time verification code you need to link a new device to their account.
And to make this really concrete, the source tells the story about a client they call Megan. So Megan was worried that her teenage daughter was deleting a bunch of messages and hiding things. This is the whole setup for how they allegedly used that Verizon Message Plus feature to get access. And this chart just breaks down the whole deceptive plan perfectly. On one side, you have the cover story they told the daughter, hey, you want a free shopping spree from Apple. But on the other side, you see the real goal. It wasn't about a gift card. It was about getting her to read out that 6-digit verification code from Verizon. And once they had that, they could link her text to the mom's account, giving her access to everything, even messages that had been deleted.
Okay, now we get to the third and final method, which the source presents as the most advanced one of the bunch. This technique supposedly bypasses the need for any physical access and any direct contact with the person. Instead, it focuses on the digital footprint they leave behind on other devices.
So this is the big question, right? What happens when those first two methods just aren't an option? What if you have absolutely no way to physically grab the phone to type in a code, and there's no way you can trick them into giving you a verification number? The source poses this exact problem to set up their final solution. And the answer, according to the source, is to stop targeting the phone itself and instead go after the cloud account that's linked to it. They talk about using the specific password recovery tool called TenorShare 4UKey, which is designed to scan a computer and pull out saved credentials, like, you guessed it, a person's Apple ID. The process is laid out in another story, this time about a client they call Chelsea. The claim is that by getting their hands on a computer her daughter had used to log into her Apple account in the past, they could use this software to just lift that Apple ID. From there, they could supposedly link that ID to an online monitoring service and see pretty much everything that was being backed up to iCloud. And the alleged outcome of all this? Total access. The mother could apparently see everything being backed up from the phone. We're talking messages, photos, call logs, you name it, all through a web dashboard. And she could do it all without ever physically touching or interacting with her daughter's iPhone.
So let's pull all of this together. We've just walked through 3 totally different approaches to the same claimed goal.
Each one has a different level of technical skill involved and a different level of interaction required. So what's the big takeaway here?
What this source material really lays out is kind of a ladder of access. It starts with the absolute simplest method, using network codes, which just needs a little bit of physical access. Then it moves up a rung to social engineering, which needs no physical access but does require direct contact. And it all culminates in this idea of cloud account extraction, which needs neither of those things, but instead targets a person's digital trail on totally different devices.
Exploring these claimed methods, it ultimately brings us to a much, much deeper question that the technology itself just can't answer. While the source frames all these tools in the context of parents and kids, it really opens up a complex ethical debate. In our hyper-connected world, where exactly is that fine line between making sure a child is safe and respecting their growing, fundamental right to privacy? That's really the question this whole thing leaves us with.